Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 287. Yes, it's been a couple weeks since I did my last video. Purely because basically they have not had a new episode released, per se. Yes, so we're here discussing, if I get this thing to work properly. Come on. Thank you. Here we're discussing episode 1171, known as The Reason Became a Butler, Part 1. And also two brand new chapters of the manga, 1149, 1150. Yeah, that was quite interesting, the fact, okay, so we come back after 3 weeks after the last episode aired, and it's another canon episode. Okay. Yeah, I was not expecting this at all. No, I was not. I was like, interesting. Yeah, kind of a very interesting choice, the fact that they did this. Well, for airing-wise, 2 episodes in a row, we actually have... actually it's been 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, excuse me. Because last episode aired was in fact a canon episode, and yet here... we have this. I'm like, this is interesting. Now, you might be curious in asking this. When was the last time we had 2 straight canon cases adapted for the anime, adapted back to back? Well, actually, believe it or not, this actually is the first time in terms of episodes released. This is the first time since January that this has happened. I'm not expecting this to happen all the time, but I do appreciate whenever I do a canon episode. Oh, he adapts from the entirety of chapter 1113 and the first 11 out of 18 pages for chapter 1114. So we start up with Hiji, Katcha, and Momoji, where they're paying carts on a train to someplace. They do note the fact that apparently this thing was booked, but there's the car is mostly empty. Well, that's because Momoji bought all the things except for 2. Leaves so 2 for them, and look out for Butlers. They're obviously Itadori. And then of course we have this drunk come by, where he just spills his beer on Dory's sleeve, and then, of course, Ichiro goes to the bathroom to try to clean up the sleeve. It's not working. There's like, I'll do one thing up. And it's revealed that on his right arm, actually it's more like his left arm, there is a scar there. Now, they do explain how the heck that got there. And then he notices, they do explain it later. So, then after finishing up, he notices, there's a phone ringing, so I have a phone in the bathroom. It's this mysterious person who actually does know Itadori as a former public security officer. Now, the thing is, aside from maybe Conan, now the only other person who probably does know that he is in fact a public security officer, like, the last time this was brought up was a while ago. Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, and those of you curious, when in the world did we find out he was a former public security officer? It was a while ago. I think it was during a case that I think it basically involved Momoji's last known physical appearance in the show. Which was actually... seemed like it had been a while. Okay, so the last this happened was when Momoji's last appearance, which was last year. In episode 1136. That was, and H.R. was a former public security officer, and the manager officer is, in fact, his former boss. I'm like, that is interesting. It's been... Okay, since that aired back in September. Let me think. December. So it's been like... From OG Indoor, let's see. It's been almost a year. Yeah, almost a year since the last appearance of the show. In the manga, probably about 2 years, maybe. Yeah. And then back here, of course, prior to the last thing physically appeared in the show was actually in episode 1025, which was 3 years prior to events of that episode. Yeah, thing with Momoji, she does not appear a lot in the show. You're like, really? She doesn't? Yeah, she's not the big of a recurring character in the show. I mean, this episode here that I'm reviewing right now, this is only her 12th appearance in the entire show. You would think as a important character she'd appear a little more than that, but nope. She has not. Those of you curious, like prior to this very case, her last appearance was definitely in Chapter 1090. Excuse me. And once this case wraps up, she does appear 2 more times after this, but that's been pretty much it for her. Nothing against the character. I do like this character. Though Ishidori appear a little bit more than the Ishidori. Oh yeah. In terms of, actually, in Mana, he basically appeared the same, but he debuted prior to the she did. So, he gets a phone call asking about basically, USB drive and inspect this dead body. He's like, why would we do anything he asked, basically, because for some weird reason, whoever this person is, decides to have a bloody knife go back, just itching toward Momoji. It's like, fine. So checks the whole body, no USB drive, and then he proceeds to open the man's briefcase, a metal briefcase, mind you. I'm like, what is inside of this? The nuclear football? So, that's the first thing I think of when I think of a metal briefcase. But it's kind of weird seeing a metal briefcase, especially nowadays. Like, the size of, I get the fact it's probably small, but usually we have regular luggage, we don't have metal briefcases. And he examines it, like, can't find the USB drive. And then, just by sheer coincidence, Hishidori just had to come by, wonder what's going on. And of course, basically, he's being called, he's on the phone with Conan. So, but there's also a flashback in this episode. We jump back in time, 3 years prior to this episode, where Idori has finished beating the crap out of 20 freaking guys. Yes, 20 thugs in this villa that is owned by the former prime minister, which we'll get to, who's related to this particular person. And it's like, okay, so he just goes to the kitchen, maybe from the basement, have a little nap because he's tired. And then he gets in the basement, and just by sheer coincidence, he meets Momoji here. Yes. By the way, this is also he finds out with the scar. Yeah, this is how he meets Momoji, which, since the fact this is 3 years prior to the show, and given how old she looks now, he's probably like 27. How old is Momoji at this period of time? She is supposed to be 17 right now, so if this was 3 years in the past, I'd say she's probably about 14-ish. Though she looks a bit older than that. So, basically, she's like, oh, you're the former Prime Minister's granddaughter. Yep. And like, oh yeah, because she wants to see the villa, so she used her grandfather's car to come out there to check it out. And then, after chatting there for a little while, of course, he basically tells her to leave, and, well, basically he'll be going to sleep for about 30 minutes, and then he wakes up. Apparently he's been asleep for an hour. Yeah, that's happened to me before where I set my alarm clock at a particular time. It doesn't go off, though he does find the reason why later. And he wakes up, he hears voices where more thugs have shown up, 3 of them, though he doesn't know the 3 yet. And they apparently do know the fact that it's a granddaughter here, not the former prime minister himself. And he's wondering, like, hoping Momoji, and he does not notice for like a minute that she's still there because she is holding onto his arm. And he looks at his arm, and like, oh yeah, I basically treated your wound, and cover his arm with bandages. And he's like, oh yeah, use all my bandages, all these cute little ones. And well, like, of course, she needs him to protect her, obviously, because she's a very important person. He's probably like, okay, it's part of a job to protect. I think, as far as I could tell, I'm not sure if this actually is part of their job description, but I'm sure be a bodyguard for a politician's family member is probably on the job description. So, oh yeah, by the way, she's real. She's one to shut off the alarm so you can always sleep a little longer. But overall, great episode. Yep. So, we're not done just yet. Because in these two, we're talking about chapters 1149, 11, and 1150. 1149 is the fate of chaos. 1150 is the pursuers of chaos. Excuse me. And here's the thing about this one. Despite the fact that the next chapter is a resolution to this arc, it ends on a cliffhanger. Which is interesting. So, yeah. Yeah, we see Remy seeing the sushi chef. Of course, he immediately sees her. He looks like, oh my gosh, it's Rich Asuka. That's a former name before changing to Remy. It's a former bodyguard. And of course, they flash back to that particular arc. This actually is the first that these two have seen each other since that arc's flashback. But the last time that these two probably were in an episode together was actually in that very case that was aired for the anime. It was not the most recent arc. Oh no. It was actually an arc that aired about 2 months ago. Yeah, I thought this was really cool. Like, oh yeah, but it was a class. And then, of course, oh, Santos. Yeah, that for some reason Santos. Like, oh yeah, are you Miss Kobayashi's assistant? Yep. Yeah. And of course, basically, they get away, and of course, then she puts her hand on her shoulder. It's like, why don't we see how the case turns out, Mr. Sushi Chef? It's different from the one the children told me about. 2 murders on the same day. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. And of course, basically, she does ask about his eye, which of course he does attempt to take off, which that was so interesting. Yeah, and of course, basically, they kind of figure out how they commit the murder with headphones by Cohen and like a child. Yep. This case is like irrelevant to the main plot of the thing. Andre Carmel is still there. Of course, it's easy to figure out the whole thing related to the murder. And then, of course, basically, it turns out it's actually the chubby guy was the one who actually did the deed. And then Jodie Starling shows up in her fancy car. And then there's a car swoops right by her and gets into a car wreck. Also, get this. Remy's shirt goes up and we see there's scars on her side. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many scars does this woman have? Because it was already established her arms are covered in scars, basically her upper arms. But not basically her sides. I thought this was interesting. Looks like one is like on her belly. And of course, the thing is, Conan and the sushi chef saw that, but yeah, and they say this is serious resolution. This is a conclusion of this very arc, but it's a cliffhanger. I'll get back to that. So it's okay. They just wrapped up another murder that just happened, and then we have this random car crash. And then, of course, she chases after him, and, of course, then Remy sees Jody. They glare at each other. And, of course, like, where the heck did this car come from? And, of course, they take the guy away because he's irrelevant in the case. And this apparently was time for Jody to pick up Andre. Which, of course, then... Oh, yeah. This is when they figure out, though, that Wakasa, the sushi chef, he is, in fact, Rum. This is where now the thing is, as a reader, I know about this for quite a while. This is how the characters find out that he is in fact Rum. And he's like, "Oh look, it's Jody, it's Ija Carmel." Like, oh, and he's like, "Oh crap." He looks at, and then of course, and this actually is Aki in disguise as Subaru, glaring at him, and it reminds him of his late father. Now, it could be theorized that this is the guy who killed his father. Like, possibly, the man died. It's his son. And then we have, basically, the Black organization of two assassins. Oh, by the way, James Black is back in this story. Which you're like, what? James Black is back here? Oh, yeah. I did not expect that. Yeah. James Black, the guy who's British, but he's actually grew up in Chicago. Yeah, this was something to see this guy. Because I was not expecting to see this guy again. Because the last time he was seen was almost 100 chapters ago. In chapter 1066. You're like, what? That was the last time he appeared in the manga? Oh, heck yes. So he's not appeared in this manga for, I think, about 2 years? Let's see how long it's been here. So yeah, then Subaru's like, yeah, it's obviously him. This will figure out that Wakashi's actually Rum. Let's figure out here, let's see, how long has it been since 1066? Which I think was the FBI serial murder case, I think it was. Okay, so in terms of the manga, it's been almost 5 years since he was the last seen. In the anime, he was actually 2 years ago, but damn! Who would have thunk we'd seen basically James Black again, which was something. And of course they discussed that Heiji apparently probably kind of knew about this. Yeah, the fact that, well, they easily figured it out. And like two organizations snaps to act like a love-and-dip couple. And then the chapter ends with Aki looking at Subaru. Well, I'm trying to think what was his name here. Oh. Amuro. Yeah, Amuro. We see Amuro, and he looks at him, and then the chapter ends with Remy on top of the Cafe Parrot building with a sniper rifle. I'm like, oh my gosh. Cliffhanger! Yes, it's a cliffhanger. Like the murder thing, that was a side thing, but So in the case of Ray, like this was a quick cameo. It was great to see him again. Like, I don't think it's been that long. I mean, he was just featured in chapter 1141, so it would not have been very long per se. Oh, in case you're curious though, for the anime, he was actually just featured basically back in January. Yep. But this overall, really, really good. I love these two chapters. I give these two chapters a 10 out of 10. The next chapter 6 release for the issue, probably next month. Let me take a look about that one. But keep this arc was only just 4 chapters. Yeah, only 4. And it was like 2 back-to-back cases, which I did not expect that at all. And sadly put, the next case will not come out until October. Interesting. So I was thinking when they started adapting this arc, which came out today, like, is there enough material to last for a little while? Well, after this, not sure. I mean, by the time they wrap up this arc, like, they're only about 35 chapters behind, so they might wait a bit before they do another one. Yep, so yeah, this particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next to a comment corner, and then it's on to, well, scooped out by the S-Rank Adventure. Okay, thanks, go. Bye.